You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Right-wing fracas explodes over MAGA influencers attack is spreading poison for cash based on an article by Nicole Charlie. Murder as merchandise, truth as a liability, a fight over ownership. The source is simple enough. Candace Owens attacked Ben Shapiro and Turning Point USA spokesperson Andrew Kolvet while the trial over the killing of Charlie Kirk was underway, and Shapiro, Kolvet, and Laura Loomer responded by accusing Owens of slander, narcissism, and helping the defense of the accused killer. That is the surface-level event. The political meaning is uglier. A dead man's name has become contested property, and the fight is over who gets to cash in, control the narrative, and define loyalty. Who holds power? The actual power in the story is not in Owens' feed, Shapiro's reply, or Loomer's demand that YouTube intervene. The power sits with the ecosystem that rewards all of them: a platform distribution, donor attention, influencer monetization, and movement institutions like Turning Point USA. These figures are not outside the machine. They are the machine's mouthpieces, competing for status inside a politics that turns grievance into revenue and loyalty into a litmus test. Conspiracy as revenue model. Owens' alternative theories are not treated here as an honest search for facts. Shapiro explicitly calls them conspiratorial poison for cash. That phrase matters because it names the incentive structure more clearly than the usual fake concern over drama. The controversy is not a misunderstanding between personalities. It is a business model built on suspicion, selective outrage, and the promise that every tragedy can be repackaged into content. The real misdirection. The easiest move in this kind of coverage is to frame the story as a clash of egos. That framing is too small. Yes, Owens is being attacked for slandering Kirk's wife, friends, and organization, and Kolvet says she has hijacked the story. But the deeper problem is that the movement itself creates the conditions for this rot. It elevates conspiracists, then act shocked when conspiracists monetize grief and weaponize martyrdom. The outrage is performative because the incentives are intact. What the infighting reveals. This is what authoritarian politics looks like when it cannot fully control the story it has created. Instead of accountability, there is factional warfare. Instead of truth, there is brand maintenance. Instead of mourning, there is a scramble to police the approved version of events. Loomer's call for YouTube to investigate Owens only deepens the logic of the movement that worships censorship myths, is perfectly happy to demand platform discipline when one of its own becomes inconvenient. The pattern. The larger pattern is not chaos, it is degradation. A politics built on conspiracy, personal loyalty, and perpetual outrage eventually eats its own evidence. It turns every death into a branding contest and every accusation into a monetization strategy. That is not a glitch. It is what happens when a movement trains people to treat reality as optional and power as something you keep by controlling the story, not by telling the truth. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article, with the automated voice of Kristen. Thanks for listening.